Sylvester Stallone is one of those rare individuals in the entertainment industry who has managed to do it his way. In 1975, after struggling for work as an actor, he wrote the script for Rocky and forced producers to let him star. Rocky was named Best Picture of the Year, became a box office blockbuster. The rest is history. In 1982, Stallone's movie about a Vietnam veteran, First Blood, was one of the sleepers of the year. Now, Stallone is making a sequel, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, concerning a secret mission back to Vietnam.
The covert operation's being geared up in the Far East. Your name was dug out by the computer as one of 3 most able to complete the mission. Mission? Recon for POWs in Nam.
Although Rambo may have the same tough edge as Rocky, the characters are vastly different.
Rocky is much more simplistic. Rambo's a man whose voice is carried out through actions. Rambo lets nothing out. It all comes out through physical verification.
More than just an actor, Stallone is an accomplished writer-director. While in the midst of filming Rambo in the Mexican jungle, he spends time between takes writing.
I love the writing. The writing is the most exasperating, exhilarating experience. I'll get so engrossed in the project that I'm doing, such as Rambo, that I almost have to ease my brain a little bit, and that's when I begin to work on Rocky IV, which kind of relaxes me a little bit. And then I go back into Rambo with a renewed freshness.
Sylvester Stallone is an introspective man who has the same determination and intensity as the characters he brings to the screen.
You must know who you are. You must know the truth. You must know that your ideals are within realistic grasp, and then pursue them with a vengeance.
In 1973, at the end of American involvement in the Vietnam War, 591 American POWs returned, leaving 2,500 Americans still unaccounted for. In 1979, 6 years later, Marine PFC Robert Garwood was released after 14 years in captivity. Early this year, he publicly admitted that he had seen up to 70 Americans still alive in Vietnam.
I want it known the fact that I was not and am not the last American live POW in Vietnam.
Numerous motion pictures have dealt with America's involvement in the Vietnam War, but the latest, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, is the first to focus specifically on a U.S. military mission to find POWs still being held captive 12 years after the POWs came home. Both written by and starring Sylvester Stallone, it is a carefully researched story that is both timely and controversial.
Rambo, you're probably aware that there's almost 2,500 Americans still missing in action in Southeast Asia. Now, most of these boys are presumed killed, but to the League of Families, Congress, and lots of Americans, it's still a very emotional issue.
So what his committee needs is conclusive proof that Americans are being held.
And once done, rest assured we'll get our men back.
I hope to establish a character that can represent a certain section of the American consciousness and through the entertainment also be educational.
They're listed as missing in action. We don't know where they are. We don't know it's quite possible that they're still in camps, that they're still being held prisoner. No one knows. No one has told us. And it opens that door. And I think it opens it in a way that I think you're going to have fans standing in the aisles and cheering.
If I had a brother who was lost, I could never just say for certain that he was dead. I'd want to know for sure. And that's why I think this movie is quite pertinent in that fact and has a lot of validity.
In 1982, Sylvester Stallone starred as John Rambo in the movie First Blood. Sean Baker, a 16-year-old Oklahoma City boy, saw First Blood and felt there was a message in it for him.
He had taken Rambo, the character I play, his life, his need to survive. He had taken that credo onto himself, and he said he wanted to live by that code.
Sean has a form of incurable cancer, and with this personal code, he made a difficult decision.
He had seen Rambo, the First Blood movie, over 220 times. and the doctors have given him 3 months, and he was in a bed strapped down with tubing and all kinds of equipment, just life support systems, and he said he just doesn't want to live like this, and he pulled all these tubes from his body and said, I just want to go out with some kind of dignity.
When Stallone heard about Sean, he invited the boy down to the jungles of Mexico, where he was in the midst of filming a sequel to First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Here, he was able to spend time with his hero. Soon, Stallone and the boy became good friends.
I was up there flying it for the first time, and I had about 11 people on board.
Oh man, you're getting one of these numbers.
I had a turbulence, and I pulled a stick, and 2 of them headed right for the door. And a friend of mine just grabbed them at the last second. Needless to say, it's been lonely ever since. I fly alone.
Beyond just a few days on location, Stallone made certain that he and Sean would have some time alone.
I was really moved by his strength. I mean, it was humbling that this boy knows that most likely he will have to face this inevitable fate, and yet he does it with no remorse.
4 months later, after the doctors gave him 3 months to live, Sean is alive, living with his brother in Arkansas. The personal code of John Rambo has served Sean Baker well. Creating action scenes in a war movie is complex, difficult, and dangerous. Safety is a major concern for Hollywood producers. In the new Sylvester Stallone film, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, the stuntmen and special effects crew were challenged in creating the reality of jungle warfare without posing a dangerous situation for crew members, like helicopter pilot Ross Young.
We are being doubly careful. As far as danger, there's always an element of danger, no matter what you're doing, but we minimize it.
In a movie such as this, helicopters are not actually armed. They only appear to be shooting rockets and blowing up buildings.
What we're doing here is we're simulating rockets burst. Get a flame about this far out.
They're just soft packs of black powder.
It gives a nice flame.
In preparation for a major battle scene, highly trained experts are rigging huts with pails of gasoline and primer cord, a rope-like explosive that will blow up at 27,000 feet per second.
The big gas balls will go up, and we'll have to wait until they have lifted it enough, and we'll come in underneath all of it.
Anyone that has no business down here, up to the gate, please, and I mean anyone that has no business. No spectators. Go!
The fire crews immediately rush in to contain the blaze. Even with extensive precautions, the flames spread to a hut where cameras are filming. Pilots and special effects experts all agree that experience, planning, and caution are what makes the difference between a scene that looks dangerous and one that is.
We don't put anybody where they'll be in danger. I didn't get to be this old by being brave.
The Vietnam War has been the subject of numerous motion pictures. In the past few years, reports have come to light that there may be live American POWs still being held in camps in Southeast Asia. This is the subject of a new major motion picture starring Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, First Blood 2. In this sequel to the hit film First Blood, John Rambo returns to Vietnam on a special mission.
The covert operations being geared up in the Far East. Your name was dug out by the computer as one of 3 most able to complete the mission.
Mission?
Recon for POWs in Nam. You interested?
Yeah.
I hope to establish a character that can represent a certain section of the American consciousness and through the entertainment also be educational.
To create that character, Stallone, his cast and crew, embarked on one of the most physically demanding war films ever undertaken.
Rambo is kind of a super soldier, but more than being just a man, he represents the entire fighting force. He's kind of a character that's bigger than life.
Making this exciting action adventure took the filmmakers not to Southeast Asia, but to the untamed jungles of Mexico, where director George Cosmatos set out to create an air of realism.
We've been through every realistic thing in the world, like mud and mosquitoes and heat and humidity.
Working long days under the unmerciful tropical sun, the mercury often climbed over 120 degrees. Added to the heat are the difficulties of filming fight scenes that are not on solid ground. Floating along with the actors and props are the cameras and crew, makeup for the stars and extras, as well as the special effects team.
Action!
Hey, jump!
I fight.
Jump! Go on!
For female co-star Julie Nixon, the difficulties in shooting this scene have nothing to do with her character or the action.
There's lots to contend with. The heat, the long hours, the mosquitoes.
The constant snakes, like yesterday, I mean, what's it called, 3 snakes, or you get tarantulas. In the middle of a scene, you see a scorpion going up your leg, and you say, wait a minute, do you have an Actors Guild card, or, I mean, are you a...
I think the worst thing is having 3 people spray me with water constantly, all day long. I have one person who sprays my face, one person who sprays my hair, one person who wets my clothes.
The task for the filmmakers was to create action scenes the likes of which no audience has ever seen. In addition to starring, Stallone also wrote the script for Rambo. His insistence that the picture be packed with action has put unparalleled physical demands on his endurance. Co-star Richard Crenna.
I think the man is nuts, because he's given himself things to do in this picture that nobody should ask of themselves. And he does them.
It was about 8 months of training, 4 hours a day, toughing myself up. The SWAT combat courses, the archery courses, the survivalist courses. Straight out or twist?
Well, it's...
The technical advisors on the show, the men that have actually been through the tours of duty, keep me honest, keep the story honest.
Because the character of Rambo is a weapons expert, Stallone had to become proficient with a bow and arrow. Stunt coordinator Diamond Farnsworth.
When we first started the show, he called me over to show me how good he was with it. And I just thought, well, let's see what he can do. And he was damn good.
Yeah! Dead center, how about it?
In the movie, we take shots as far away as 185, 190 feet. And we got lucky on a couple of them.
Some scenes are so complex, they just have to be right the first time. When Rambo destroys a command center, there'll be no chance for a second take. The gun Stallone carries is only firing blanks. Small explosive charges were wired into the set and were controlled by special effects expert Tom Fisher.
It took about 3 or 4 hours to set it up, maybe 200 bullet hits. We have to hide all the wires, try and save some of the machines, and make sure that we don't hurt anybody. It's something that is that hard to coordinate. The exploding, the firing, the shooting, the acting, the atmosphere, everything. And it all comes together in one fluid movement is, well, just about the ultimate high.
Perhaps the greatest challenge the film crew faced was staging the destruction of an enemy camp by helicopter gunships. Tons of sophisticated explosives were flown in from the U.S., and highly trained experts rigged the huts with pails of gasoline and primer cord, a rope-like explosive that will blow up at 27,000 feet per second. Because safety is the primary concern, meticulous precautions are taken.
I always ask them how safe the camera should be. The special effects man tells me how far away the camera should be, and then I add another extra to be in the safety region.
But nowhere is safety more important than in the air. Helicopter pilot Ross Young.
The big gas balls will go up, and we'll have to wait until they have lifted it enough, then we'll come in underneath all of it.
Anyone that has no business down here, up to the gate, please. I mean, anyone that has no business. No spectators.
There's always an element of danger, no matter what you're doing, but we minimize it. I didn't get to be this old by being brave. No.
The effects are incredible. I mean, I have never seen effects like this.
It was much bigger than I thought it would be, you know, the logistics and the problems involved.
I thought the first one was difficult, but the first one was almost Alice in Wonderland compared to this place.
Action scenes in movies are usually left to the professional stuntmen. Creating reality on the screen can be a dirty job. For Sylvester Stallone in his new film, Rambo, First Blood 2, acting is as physical as it is mental.
The physical aspects of it was about 8 months of training, 4 hours a day. The SWAT combat courses, the archery courses, the survivalist courses. This is the toughest physical film I've ever been involved with.
Because the character of Rambo is a weapons expert, Stallone had to become proficient with a bow and arrow. Stunt coordinator Diamond Farnsworth.
When we first started the show, he called me over to show me how good he was with it. And I just thought, well, let's see what he can do. And he was damn good.
Yeah! Dead center, how about it?
In the movie, we take shots as far away as 185, 190 feet. And I got lucky on a couple of them.
Tony Maffatoni, a Vietnam veteran and technical advisor, spent weeks working with Stallone on such things as combat survival with a knife.
Sideways.
Straight out or twist?
Well, it's...
The technical advisors on the show, the men that have actually been through the tours of duty, keep me honest, keep the story honest.
Along with his years of training in the use of deadly weapons, Stallone's boxing experience was helpful in choreographing the scenes of hand-to-hand combat.
1, 2, 3, and then...
Although this training is difficult, Stallone feels it's necessary to make the characters he portrays believable.
I trained harder than I trained for Rocky. It's a very, you might say, exhausting day that we put in here, but one well worth it. I hope this doesn't start a cloudburst.
What do you hope to accomplish with this picture? What does this film have in it for you?
Well, I hope to establish a character that can represent a certain section of the American consciousness, and through the entertainment also be educational. Whereas Rocky kind of provided that, the insight into a fighter, but he was more than a fighter. He was the working class man who became a working class hero, became a working class symbol, then tried to regain his simplicity again. While Rambo is a man who started out as a very flag-waving, patriotic guy, was eventually scorned by the country, and now he's trying to get back his own dignity and regain the pride that he once had and shed the guilt. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish in this film, that these men have nothing to be guilty for. They should be prideful human beings, and they accomplished the job as much as they could accomplish under the situations, under the guidance in which they had. So Rambo is the spokesman for the man whose voice right now isn't loud enough.
Why make the search for the POWs the thrust in this motion picture?
Well, it's a mystery that hasn't been solved, and one that is I think, a very pertinent subject in people's minds, because it's probably the last link of the war that remains unsolved, and it's also the most painful for many, because it has destroyed their families' lives, and their wives always have this doubt: could he be alive or couldn't he be alive? And if he is alive, what is he like now? So it's a very nagging question. I often put myself in that position. If I had a brother who was lost, I could never just say for certain that he was dead. I'd want to know for sure. And that's why I think this movie is quite pertinent in that fact and has a lot of validity.
About this specific story, you know the script very well. Do you think this is going to hit home to a lot of people or be controversial?
Well, I think it will, yeah. I think it will be controversial. I think there'll be a lot of criticism, both pro and con. I think that, again, it will open a lot of wounds that probably need reopening. You know, we still have, what is it, 2,485 or something, close to 2,500 vets that are unaccounted for. We don't know. They're listed as missing in action. We don't know where they are. We don't know. It's quite possible that they're still in camps, that they're still being held prisoner. No one knows. No one has told us. And it opens that door. And I think it opens it in a way that I think you're going to have fans standing in the aisles and cheering. One of the lines in this picture, at the very opening of the picture, Troutman goes to see Rambo, who's in prison for what he had done in Blood One, and he outlines the prospect of his going back to look for POWs, and he says to him, Rambo says, "This time do we get to win?" And I think that's a sense of frustration that so many of the vets felt. And Troutman says to him, "This time it's up to you." So it's a kind of a one man against the world, and of course we know how people love that. And I think that's going to be, that's the rallying point around which this film kind of develops. And then it is, in fact, one man against the odds of finding these prisoners.
Take one. Hold the traffic first. Hold the traffic.
Action, Stephen. Action!
Put them down.
Cut. Excellent.
Okay, stand by, please.